When I was a kid, some of the most anticipated toy releases of the year weren't ones you could buy in stores, they were in the drive-thru. At its peak, McDonald's was handing out more toys annually than any retailer in the world,
and somehow we all just took that completely for granted.
And I think about these toys a lot.
I mean, reminiscing is like kinda what I do.
Which also feeds into one of my new unhealthy obsessions, going on random auction sites and bidding on blurry photos of fast food toys to fulfill that emptiness inside.
So yeah, I did it again.
This showed up at my door and I genuinely have no idea what is inside. All there was when I bought it was one photo, 0 details, and apparently that's all I need these days. Because I have a problem, a fast food toy problem, and it has led me to buying toy after toy, set after set, lot after lot, because I seriously just can't get enough of these little pieces of history.
And doing it in this mystery style lets me dive deeper and deeper into all that was out there back then. Like, do you remember this? What about this? Or these guys? All of that came from this box, and there's a whole lot more where that came from, so let's get into it. I counted up all these toys, and it looks like we have just under 100, and I paid just over $20 for everything, so pretty killer. And we have everything from video games to Barbies, toys from the 80s, all the way to modern day. Like this Luca toy from 2021. Personally, I don't go after a lot of modern day sets unless they tickle that nostalgia funny bone. But it is kind of cool to see one like this because it still gives me some of that old Happy Meal toy vibe. Because you know, for a while they were releasing like cardboard games and sticker sheets, which is just like a major downgrade compared to everything that came before. But like I said, this Luca toy definitely gives some old school vibes. We have the figure of Luca, which I saw this movie when it came out and I remember liking it. Let me know what you thought in the comments. And then this also comes with different attachments to turn Luca into his sea monster form, which if you don't understand this, then you should probably go watch the movie.
And then you're supposed to put him in some cold water, making him change color. So I could only get him to change when I rubbed him with an ice cube. So it's gotta be some really cold water.
Though I can definitely appreciate the effort on this one. Now taking it back to the 90s, here is one from the Tiny Toons Adventures line from 1992. Such a good show. This is Buster Bunny. All the toys in this line were cars. They do all have some sort of gimmick incorporated in. Like in the back of this one is a little basketball and hoop, and as it rolls along, the ball gets popped up in hopes that you can get it into the hoop, though I'm not really sure if that's even possible.
And I literally got it on my second try.
And another 90s toy. This is actually the OPC killer from Star Wars Episode 1. The ship would have Jar Jar, Qui-Gon Jinn, and Obi-Wan in it. And if you pull them apart, the string would kind of act like its tongue, pulling them into its mouth, just like the movie. There were, I think, 9 in this line in particular, but they also had another line of toys for this movie, along with cup toppers, posters, and collectible coins that you could redeem for prizes. They really went all in on this return to Star Wars. And here's a good classic. We got a Rugrats toy from 1998. This one is from Burger King, and I do like to check out the paperwork from time to time.
This one has a form to fill out for a Rugrats comic, as well as a form to apply for the Burger King Kids Club.
So just give me a second. Now the toy itself is a wind-up toy, though the question is, will it work? Because we don't have the best luck with wind-up toys holding up over time. So let's see. And... oh, there it goes. Colton 1, wind-up toys, 0. These next few I wanted to group together because they are all superhero toys. This first one being from the Marvel Superheroes line in 1996, which I think is actually a pretty recognizable line. The one we have here is Jubilee, who is on a motorcycle and has the little gimmick that will spin these colors as she moves. Pretty trippy. Then taking it a couple years back with this Hobgoblin toy from the Spider-Man line in 1995, which was based on the animated series. This is a car that when it drives around, these wings on the side start flapping, and I actually really like the design of this one, but the highlight figure of this line had to be that flip head Peter Parker Spider-Man. I definitely remember having that one when I was a kid. Then we have a couple Batman toys, both from separate lines. This first one is from the Batman line in 1991. We've actually looked at the Catwoman toy from this line in another video, but we have the Batmobile here, which is probably the best one from this set, because not only does it look really good, but it also launches this front part here, which I think is really cool.
That literally just landed in my trash.
And then for the other Batman toy, this one is from the Batman the Animated Series line from 1993. Right here we have Batgirl. A pretty nice figure here, but that's kind of all it is. But she does all her own stunts. And now for a 2000s toy that I think a lot of people forgot about, but let me tell you, I sure didn't. Who remembers knack-knacks? These blocky characters that you could stack on top of each other. I actually did a short about these guys a while back, but they had a McDonald's line, which also included actual knack-knack figures, along with various knack-knack accessories too. Like the one I have here comes with this container to store your knack-knacks, actually pretty useful. And then the knack-knack we got today is this zombie-looking guy. This next one is another newbie that I am pretty impressed with. It's Tasmanian Devil from Space Jam: A New Legacy from 2021. Now, the original Space Jam toys featured characters on parts of a basketball court that could then puzzle together, and dare I say, these new ones might be better. The reason being they are all much more interactive in comparison. So like I said, I have the Tasmanian Devil here, and he's attached to this little tornado hoop, which you can kind of give it a spin like a top, and then you try to make a basket with the little basketball it came with too. Now, I'll admit this might not be my jam, Space Jam, but definitely lends itself to more creativity and fun compared to those original ones. And now for the main event, because whoever had all these toys before me was definitely a big Disney fan, because that is the majority of what was in this lot. So this next stretch is going to be all Disney, from the classics to some Pixar, and we'll even get to some Disneyland toys too. And this first one, yes, from The Lion King 1.5. I loved that movie when it came out, and the toys for this line were all like finger puppet-esque. I don't know, the commercial calls them finger tappers. There's just not really anything else that has come out that's quite like this. But I do remember these.
We have Pumbaa here, and you see on the back there are these circles to put your fingers in to make Pumbaa talk. And then the bottom is a button that lets out some audio of Pumbaa, which after I change out the batteries, you can hear him, well, yeah.
Just an interesting looking toy, and like I said, we never saw this style again. Then here we have Max from the Little Mermaid line in 1996. This is a little swimming wind-up toy. Can we get the wind-up score on screen here? Let's see. And oh yeah, we are lucky today. Let's throw him in some water. Next up, we have Mulan from the 1998 line when Mulan released on VHS. This one is a little pop-up toy. We have Cricky on a stick that goes on the back here, and then you press this button and he shoots up. And then this next one I have done a short on because I find it to be a little creepy. This is Sleepy from the 1992 Snow White line. You can lift his arms up and he's sleepy, and you can have them down and he's awake. But I just feel like the overall design of this one, plus the recessed eyes there, super sketchy. Then we have Jane from Tarzan in 1999. This is a pretty funny one because it has the figure, which looks great, but also the little top to an umbrella, which has a monkey smashed onto it. But then we can put these two together and then shoot out the monkey. Then we have some Hercules toys, which I think are all from when the movie came out on VHS. We have this Phil megaphone. You get to live out front. Wow. Definitely doesn't work like a megaphone, but very similar to some of the other megaphone and microphone toys out at the time. Then we have a Zeus football, which I think is just such an odd toy. And we actually got one of these back in the 100-pound lot. And then we have this Eye of Fate's beanie. And it's kind of like a hacky sack, honestly. And just another great oddity here. And then it's kind of funny that we have a toy from this next line because this year is actually the 25th anniversary of its release. Here is Princess Kida from Atlantis: The Lost Empire. And if you pull her back, it looks like she's riding the waves. I definitely remember having a few toys from this line back in the day. Okay, this next toy is from one of my favorite sets. I featured it a few times on the channel, and I actually have it right here. The Return to Neverland set that all combines to be Captain Hook's ship. Just so epic. Now, unfortunately, what came here was just one section of the ship, which is just Smee who spins around here. But I do still love coming across these because it's just a reminder of how awesome some of these sets can be. Now, these next ones aren't from the movie, but rather the series that came out. A couple toys from 101 Dalmatians, the series. I don't know if you remember, but these are flip cars. Got it this way, or you can do it up that way. Then I had to throw this Winnie the Pooh keychain into this line. This is from the 1999 line, which were all the plush heads of the characters. And I really feel like every time these fast food chains released a keychain, you would see it on everyone's backpack at school the next day. And this also came with an application for the Pooh Friendship Club, so just give me one moment. And this next movie often gets forgotten, but it is so good, and I was obsessed with this movie when I was a kid. We have a toy from the movie Dinosaur. Dinosaur was one of those movies that felt like a true test of CGI at the time, and I think it looks pretty good. And what was also very memorable was half the toy line, which were these hand puppets of some of the characters. The other half was just figures. Right here is the Carnotaurus, who was hunting down the iguanodons throughout the movie. And these puppets are massive. I really can't remember the last time McDonald's released a toy this big. Now we have a few Pixar toys. This one is from Toy Story 2. There were 20 toys in this line that really ranged from the main characters all the way down to ones like this. I really think they could have stopped halfway through this line, but here we are. It's still a decent toy. It's a pullback toy. Then here we have Princess Ada from A Bug's Life, which is also a pullback toy. And then we have Marlin from Finding Nemo. These were all water toys. I also did a short on these. So he's a water squirter, and then is supposed to have audio when you touch the bottom or put him in water.
But unfortunately, neither of those still work.
Now these I hope you would recognize, because there were a couple lines McDonald's released that were in these mini VHS cases. The most well-known ones probably being ones from this collection, which is known as the Masterpiece Collection, which they had a few different series of. And inside is a character figure from the movie. Then this one is from the Disney Video Showcase line in 2000, and inside we have Jessie with a bunny. And all the figures from this line can actually puzzle piece together too. And then rounding out this Disney section are a bunch of Disney Parks McDonald's toys. This one, I actually did a whole video on this line. It's the Happiest Celebration on Earth line from 2005, and you actually could have won a trip to Disney. So of course I bought the whole set to see if I could win, which you'll have to watch that video to see if I did. But let's see if we can win here. Oh, and it's a Goofy figure, by the way. And doesn't look like it. Then this is from the Disneyland Adventures line in 1994. These are all carts that represent different rides or parks at Disneyland. So right here we have Brer Bear, which represents Splash Mountain. And then another cool thing about these is that they have these little windows on the side that when you peek in show a little image of the ride or park itself. Pretty neat. And then finally, here are a few figures from the Adventures in Walt Disney World line in 1993. These are all reminiscent of Epcot, with the main Disney folks representing different countries. Here we have Mickey in the USA, Minnie in Japan, and Daisy in Germany. White, the Disney collection represented in this box. Though another good portion of this box, dolls. Lots of Barbie, but also a lot of the less popular ones too, like this Madame Alexander doll, known as Teammates Girl. This line had all the dolls in a sports theme. I do really like seeing these when they come through the office because they just look so classic. And who remembers My Scene dolls? Barbie's answer to Bratz? And apparently there was a McDonald's line with miniature versions of the dolls. And right here I have City Scene Delancey. Then here is a strawberry shortcake keychain, but of orange blossom. And kind of something funny about this one is that you pop off the hat and inside is some lip gloss that honestly still looks in pretty good shape and smells like orange blossom. And another line that I feel like I should remember, Mini Cabbage Patch Kids. Though these are just figurines compared to the actual thing, here is Mimi Christina, very angelic. Then we have a Diva Stars keychain. I've also got my real Diva Stars right over there. This keychain is also a clock, which there were a bunch of others that were more like miniature versions of the real thing, or some sort of beauty or fashion accessory.
But does the clock work? Well, no. And after taking out some screws, I still couldn't pry it open and didn't want to risk breaking it, so unfortunately this will stay as a little figure keychain. I guess we'll get another tally going for how many toys I can actually fix throughout this video too.
So like I said, lots of Barbie. It is seriously wild how many Barbie sets were at McDonald's. I was counting over 20 sets with who knows how many dolls. And we'll go through some and it might seem like a good amount, but this is probably a tenth, if that, of the amount of dolls that McDonald's produced. And we have Barbies from 1994 all the way to 2001. So let's cruise through these. For 1994, we have Bicyclin' Barbie, Bridesmaid Skipper, Skipper actually being the younger sister of Barbie, if you didn't know. know. And then here is Camp Barbie. And then this one is from 1995, but it's actually from a toy line that featured a bunch of toys. There was a time in the 90s around Christmas time that McDonald's and Mattel would promote other toys, probably to hoodwink some parents into going and buying the real thing. But yeah, this is Holiday Barbie in a sleigh. And these ones from 1996 are from a Dolls of the World line of Barbies. I've actually done a short on these ones. And right here we have Mexican Barbie and Kenyan Barbie. And this one is from 1997, known as Happy Holidays Barbie, not to be confused with Holiday Barbie that we just saw. And I've actually done a short on the line this came in as well. Then here are a couple from 1998. This one just known as Barbie, no moniker to go with it. And this one known as Bead Blast Barbie. And then the last one we have here is the McDonald's Fun Time Barbie, which I think has got to be my favorite one of all the ones we've looked at here. Then these next few sets we are actually going to discover together, because I have seriously never seen any of these toys. Like, who knew there was a Raggedy Ann set, which these date all the way back to 1989. This was in collaboration with the animated series, which I also had no idea existed. But we have two here. One is the Raggedy Andy slide. Comes with this two-piece slide, put it together, and then you take your Raggedy Andy figure and slide them on down. Very simple, yet fun. And then we have Grouchy Bear and Carousel. No idea who Grouchy Bear is, but we can stick Grouchy Bear on the carousel it came with and let it spin. And for a McDonald's set that I've actually never heard of, I'm actually pretty impressed with these. Then these next ones are for the Flintstones, specifically the live action movie that came out. They all feature some sort of vehicle and a location, so you now have this kind of like mini playset. So we have Fred in the Bedrock Bolorama, and then here is Wilma for this set as well. And she comes with the Flintstones house. Though I really wish I got the one that came with the Rock Donalds. Then here we have a couple toys from the busy world of Richard Scarry. That show and the books were just a childhood staple. And similar to the Flintstones ones, these are also a vehicle and then come with a little building to have your own mini playset. Here is Huckle Cat, and he comes with a school. And then we also have Lowly Worm coming in that iconic apple, and he comes with a post office. A pretty cute set, and definitely glad I got Lowly Worm. This just really brings me back. All right, and now for some video games. I mean, if you consider these video games, we've got a couple of the old LCD games in here. One very recognizable and the other not so much. I just hope that they work, but if they don't, I'll try to open them up and fix them up. But yeah, we've got a Sonic game right here. I've done a short on a separate line of Sonic games. This is one that I think came a year later than those, but definitely leave a comment if you had any. And does it work? No. But let's see if I can get it to work.
And it seems like the toys win again, because I also tried a bunch of things to get this to work, and it still wouldn't boot up. Though fortunately enough for us, we have Sonic's #1 fan in Peter Netter, and we were actually able to see some gameplay from this one.
And then this other one comes from an ESPN line of games. This one in particular being a football game with Michael Vick. Yikes. And does this work? Yes, it does. And you use these arrows to move your player up and down to try and catch the football that's coming at you. I say this a lot, but McDonald's just doesn't do things like this anymore. They would much rather give you a QR code and go play some game on a website. And then another bunch of classics with some teeny Beanie Babies. We've got these guys from the 1996 line, which is kind of the line people think of when it comes to teeny beanies. We have Pinky, Chocolate, also have the regular size Chocolate right here, Patty, Chop, and Speedy. Then this one from 2004, which we actually had one from this line in the last lot we did. These ones were for the Happy Meal's 25th anniversary, and were all named after different aspects of McDonald's. Like this one is McNugget the Bear, though I still got to get my hands on that Ronald one. Then these last ones are from a 2021 line, which who knew Beanie Babies were still that relevant. These ones were known as Teeny Beanie Boos. They have a different design, and I'd argue much cuter and softer than the originals. And here we have Glitzy and Cuckoo. All right, we are getting down to our last bunch, and I think it's time for a lightning round.
We've got this virtualizer pendant from VR Troopers in 1995. We've got a toy from Bobby's World, which is a wagon that can be imagined into a car. I also did a short on these if you're curious. And here are some toys from the Happy Meal's 15th birthday in 1994. I'm actually on the hunt to complete this set currently, but it features random IPs that had some iconic McDonald's lines up until that point. Here we've got a Hot Wheels one for Muppet Muppet babies, and one for the Little Mermaid. And then they can actually connect together to make a train. Then here we've got a Littlest Pet Shop unicorn, which is interesting to look at because it isn't in the style that we are much more familiar with today. And here is a Polly Pocket ring, which all the toys in this line look super fun. And before we continue, let's take a moment to de-stress with this anti-stress kit that also found its way into this lot for some reason. Take a screenshot of this if you need it for the future. But continuing on with this truck from the Attack Pack in 1994, which are kind of like real monster trucks. Really fun. This next little plush of Babe from the movie Babe. I watched that movie a million times as a kid. Here's a toy from the movie Hook. Also don't think I realized that there was a toy line for this one either. This is a mermaid wind-up water toy, and the wind-up toy score, all right. This next one is a more generic Fisher-Price dog. Here we've got Dougal from the movie Dougal, which we also got in our last lot, funnily enough. This one is actually a toy from Subway for their Winter Sports Challenge series. This is actually a pretty fun one, letting the skier ride downhill. Also wonder how Andy fares on this one. Then this last one in our lightning round is not a fast food toy at all, but rather a plush bear from the Avon Breast Cancer Crusade in 2001. How this also ended up in here, I do not know.
And rounding out this whole lot, some of my favorite McDonald's toys, we've got some McNugget Buddies, all from Halloween lines. The first one here is from the 1992 Halloween line called McBoo, dressing up as a ghost. And then the other two are from the 1996 Halloween line, and we've got one dressed up as a dragon and the other dressed up as a spider. And as much as I love McNugget Buddies, I actually don't own that many, so I might have to hang on to these ones.
These lot videos are some of my favorite videos to make. These toys just give you little snapshots of what was happening in the world, remembering what was popular, what movies were out, what shows we were watching, or they bring you back to a random Tuesday when your parents pulled through that drive-thru and handed you the Happy Meal box. And it's what I said at the top of the video. It's really not the toys themselves, it's the feeling that comes with them. If you recognize something in here that brought you back, drop it in the comments. I genuinely love hearing what you all remember. And as always, thanks for watching.
It's kind of like a, oh,